It's here, the brand new MacBook Pro in beautiful black with an M3 Max. My review coming up next on Hands on Tech.
This is TWiT.
Is it time to talk about your...
I'm excited. So I'm kind of thinking, it sounds like I'm ancient. I'm only 60. I'll be 67 in a week. I'm not that old. But I'm thinking, last car? Well, if I get a car that lasts me 10, 15 years, I'm not going to be driving into my 80s. You think? I'll be that guy going, get out of my way! No, I don't want to be driving in my 80s. So I think that's my last car. Now, I've said, and people laugh at me, this could be my last laptop. It's not my last laptop, obviously. But I do think it's time for me to get a laptop that is kind of a no compromise.
There you go.
That I'm going to have for 5 yees. And the main reason it is because Lisa did this last year and she got an M2 Max, and I was so pissed off I had to say I'm going to get an M3 Max. My wife did the same thing, and rightly so. So this is the new M3 MacBook Pro. I was kind of waiting for the M3. Mm-hmm. And one thing I have to say is, one of the reasons I was waiting for the M3 is this is the first processor from Apple in a computer that is a 3-nanometer process. This is important to understand. The way chips work, unlike everything else in the world, the smaller they get, the more powerful they get, and the less power they need, less energy they need to do their work. And so every time you get a step to a new node like this, it should be a big improvement in both performance and energy use. And I was waiting for the 3-nanometer. Am I thrilled? No, it's not as big a jump as I thought it would be. Is it easily the fastest computer I've ever used? Yes. Is it the most kind of elegant expression of a computing device? Yes. And that's one of the reasons that I was very attracted to this. The black notice. It's not black when I tilt it into the light, because what makes it look dark is actually, and there's a great piece in iFixit on this finish they use and how it reflects light. Mm-hmm. So when it gets to the position where it can reflect light, it's actually, kind of a medium gray. But it doesn't reflect light very well, and so as you tilt it, it gets darker and darker. It is a nice look, don't you think?
It is a very nice look, absolutely.
They also solved the problem with the Midnight Blue MacBook Airs of fingerprints. Not 100%.
It's not solved, but they addressed it,
It's not nearly as bad.
Yeah.
In fact, normally I carry my MacBook Air in a case because it's so, fingerprint magnetic. You can see, I've been handling this. It's not covered with fingerprints. It's a little bit smooshy. Easy to clean off, though. Mm-hmm. I had an Air, and I was feeling not great about the screen. The screen on this is, I think, a lot better than this screen in the Air. This is Apple's True Tone P3 color gamut. It really does a great job of reproduction. It goes up to 120 hertz, so it's very smooth scrolling. I feel like this is a notably better screen, and I did this by sitting it side by side with my M2 MacBook Air, and it really is a difference in color and reproduction. It just looks great. Now, let's talk a little bit about speed, though. I'm going to close out a few of the applications I've got running here because I want to... now, battery life, when you just do normal things with this, is as good as it was on the MacBook Air. It's, you're getting 11 hours all day battery life. Excellent battery life. But I have to say, one of the things Apple's done with this is they've reduced the number, as we were talking earlier, of efficiency cores. This is designed to be powerful and fast. Furthermore, it's designed to do it without regard to energy use.
Okay.
So that when you want speed and power, it's going to eat through the battery. I'll show you Baldur's Gate, okay? This is a popular game. It's on Steam, and it was designed... Let's close out, again, a few of these other things. It was designed to... I have a lot of stuff running. That's the other thing. I got 64 gigs of RAM, so I can have a lot of things. I'm going to close out my email. There we go. Now we can play Baldur's Gate. No, I unplugged that, John. There's a reason I unplugged it, because I want to hold it. John's crawling over. You can look over my shoulder. It actually looks better. So I was playing Baldur's Gate, which which is a great game. It is a modern game that is designed simultaneously for the PC and the Mac, and that's one of the reasons I'm playing it. There are not a lot of those.
Right, exactly.
There are not a lot of those. This is one of them. It does load noticeably faster. Whoops. Hello. Oh, it crashed. Well, how about that, huh? Let me do it again. I haven't had that happen. It loads noticeably faster, except when it doesn't, and it runs beautifully and I set this at the maximum.
Really?
Oh, I know.
Maximum
I
visuals?
didn't crash. I closed Steam. That was a mistake. There we go. It runs beautifully, but it runs about 2 hours before you have to plug it in. It is not because they're turning up all the power.
Yes, and this was something that they did make note of in the keynote, was that it runs at the same video speed. Like, the video is just as good whether you're plugged in or not. Unlike most Macs, when you unplug them, they do drop everything.
Right.
They're not doing that with the new
Very
MacBook
important.
Pros.
So they've designed this to really be a beast when you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not doing things that are demanding, it does not particularly use the energy.
Notably, you have, as is always the case with MacBook Pros, the speaker grills on the side, unlike the MacBook Air. So you've got those on the left and
sound
right
is
side.
so much better. This has more speakers, and that was another thing, by the way. It just purely in terms of, user convenience, having great sound and a great screen. And by the way, keyboard and trackpad are top in class. They always have been on Macs, right? But this feels like it. And I think it looks pretty nice on that dark gray background. This is the game running at the top frame rate, by the way, the top quality.
No
everything.
jitter.
No
jitter.
lag. Beautifully. It runs beautifully. But 2 hours later, I had to plug it in. So but I don't think that's unusual.
that's
I think
not
you'd
a
expect
problem.
that on a PC as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I would expect to be sitting at a PC on a PC, not using a laptop in the first place.
Yeah.
So
I plugged this into my 55-inch OLED display. It can run multiple 6K displays. That's one of the advantages on this. They now have, if you buy the top of the line, that's the other reason I didn't get the lower down version of the M3 Max or the M3 Pro. I want all of the ports. It has an HDMI port. It has three Thunderbolt 4 ports. I'll show you the two on the other side. An SD card reader. I like that too. That's something missing.
It's so nice to have that just built in.
2 more Thunderbolt 4 ports. I have the Thunderbolt 4 dock from CalDigit. Runs beautifully. Can plug into that. Powers it. Will run multiple monitors. It has DisplayPort. There's the MagSafe adapter. Yes, it does come with a braided black cable. if you care about that at a high cost, that uses the memory well. I would say, as we were talking earlier, having 64 gigs is nice.
yeah.
You want to feel how hot it got from running Baldur's Gate?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's quite warm.
But do you hear fans? You didn't hear
No,
fans,
I didn't
did
hear
you?
fans.
Their fans turn on, but they're nice
They're
and
just
quiet.
very quiet, yeah.
This gets quite warm. This is, this is running a AAA title in the highest possible graphics.
And it just resumed, too. That's quite nice.
did you see that? Instant.
Yeah. Foom, foom.
I really have to say, Apple has, and notice I'm not doing benchmarks because I don't think benchmarks fully reflect the experience a user has. I'm shutting down Steam now, so it's not about benchmarks when it comes to you sitting down at it. It's what you're doing with it, and it's how it feels. Shall I show you Windows?
That would be great.
All right. Runs Windows better than any PC I've ever had. It is truly remarkable. Let's see how I can run this. It runs Windows in both. I'm using Parallels, of course. And it's funny, I don't do it that often, so I don't remember. I'm not a big PC user, remember?
Yeah. Do you have more on here just as proof of concept, or are there apps that you do end up wanting to use?
It's pretty much proof of concept. There's nothing I really want Windows to be running. But notice, by the way, in my launcher, I have things like Windows PowerShell. I can run Windows applications standalone. In fact, let me launch that, just show you how quickly I can get into Windows 11. There we go. Oh, there's Windows running.
Yeah, listen
there's
to
PowerShell
it make all
running.
sounds. Yeah.
It has turned it into a full screen Windows machine in, how was that, 5 seconds flat?
Very fast.
This thing runs Windows, like I said, better
Can
than
it
any
run
PC.
Edge?
Well, I don't really want to run Edge, but I will for you. I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
Continue without this data. Oh, you have to do a lot of stuff. Customize, express, so forth. You see how fast all this stuff is loading?
Yeah, it's just loading immediately.
It's immediate. And that's the subjective experience that no benchmark will show you. This feels responsive. Let me show you another example. That's Windows. I'll keep Windows running. I got enough RAM. That's another reason why I got 64 gigs of RAM is so that you can keep Windows running. And I just slide over. Oh, I'm on a Mac. Oh, I'm on a PC. Oh, I'm on a Mac. I'm going to run Whisper. Whisper AI is do you see how fast that loaded, by the way? I just want to point that out. I'm going to open up a file, and we'll transcribe MacBreak Weekly from this week. So this is MP3, so the first thing it has to do, it converts it. Jason Snell pointed this out. This is the Whisper runs orders of magnitude, seems like, faster on this processor than any other. Because it really, and if you look at the CPU usage, in fact, let me launch Activity Monitor while we're doing this, so we can see everything. Just does that feel?
Snappy.
There's something benchmark can express how that felt.
Exactly. That is very much something that you just have to show and talk about.
It works with you. It does what you want to do. I'm going to keep the CPU monitor window open here. CPU usage. We'll close out that other one. Oh, it's already going. And let's see here. These are the CPUs. Now, notice there's 16 of these, almost all pegged. In other words,
so this uses CPU and not GPU?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whisper, well, it might use GPU. I don't have, actually, let me go back to Activity Monitor.
Yeah, I can't remember if that one does it or if that's only an iStat.
GPU history. Doesn't show usage exactly. But we'll just get that window up anyway. So this uses all of these, makes a big difference in overall performance, right? I don't know if it's using the GPU. I think we'd see the same thing. This has 40 core GPU cores. If we were looking at this while we were playing Baldur's Gate, for instance, we'd probably see similar GPU activity.
Because that's the thing, they will use as much as is available, right? Regardless of what's going on.
This is transcribing in a little bit better than real time. I'm using the giant, biggest data.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is the most accurate translation Whisper does, but it's a 3 gigabyte model. It's the largest model they offer. It does a great job.
And it's a 2.5 hour file.
Yeah. And it's doing it a little faster than 1X. I could use a smaller model and do it even faster than that. So yeah, it's 5% done in the 2-hour show. So it's pretty snappy. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing
still running Windows.
While it's still running Windows in the background. That's another thing to keep in mind is you're now going to be doing more things that you thought you weren't going to challenge this computer. For instance, you're going to be doing more AI stuff. That used all of these CPUs on this thing. Mm-hmm. You may say, well, I'm not launching rocket ships. I'm not Alex Lindsay doing photogrammetry. True, but more and more we're going to start using these AI apps that will, in fact, challenge the computer. So that's the other reason to maybe overbuy. Now, this is very, very pricey. As equipped, this is a $4,800 computer. I bought Apple Care as well, so put it over the $5,000 mark. So it's not cheap. And probably most of you would do just as well with a MacBook Air.
Yeah, exactly.
Would not turn my nose up at it. Or a base model M3, or as our friend Martin in Germany did, an M3 Pro. I'm glad I could afford this because this is the best computing experience I've ever had. This is snappier, easier to use. It doesn't get in the way.
Yeah, you can take it with you whenever you go to visit your mother. It's everything you need in a device that you can take wherever. Yeah. Yeah, and it's Windows too.
And it's one of the reasons I bought more RAM, but it's also one of the reasons I bought more hard drive, because the downside of all Apple gear is it's not upgradable. So I got a 4 terabyte hard drive. So I'd have enough room for Windows, for some games, for some high-end stuff. If you're saying to yourself, is it worth $5,000 for a computer? Divide that by the number of years you're going to get out of it.
There you go.
Amortize it and ask yourself, if I get 5 years out of this, it's $1,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, what is that, $300 a month? $500 a month? I don't know. I can't do the math. I need a computer. That's what I'm saying. I think it's less than $500 a month. It's $100 a month.
Yeah,
Well, less than $100.
Less than $100 a month, because
is it worth $100 a month to you? Will it save you $100 worth of your time if you're using your computer for work? That's more of the question to ask than, do I need a $5,000 computer? No one needs a $5,000 computer, but is it worth it? It might well be. So, overall thoughts on this? I love the finish. What do you think?
Oh, I like the finish a lot. Yeah.
No, I think
especially after reading the iFixit thing, which I'm sure
what
link
they've
to.
done is incredible. This is what I love about Apple. They do things that you just don't even know behind the scenes that are crazy.
Right. They didn't take time on the stage to go through that whole process and talk about what they did.
What they're doing. Apple Silicon is a miracle. Mm-hmm. We'll see what Qualcomm does later this in 2024, but Apple Silicon is a miracle. The way this works, the way it uses power when it needs it, the way it sips at energy when it doesn't, all of this is so elegantly designed. Now, there are little things that I don't like that Apple does. I think that they really blew it on the system settings pane. That's crazy to use the iPhone system preference pane on a big screen like this.
That's the most frustrating thing. Yeah.
They're not perfect. Stage Manager, waste of time. I don't use it.
Yep.
But when they do get it right, they really get
widgets
it right.
on the desktop, I really enjoy.
You notice I'm a widgets kind of fanatic. That's a new thing. I got my calendar on the desktop. I've got the weather on the desktop. I have the time on the desktop, but more importantly, I have UTC.
Nice.
You know, I'm always doing that silly UTC calculation.
Yes, you are.
So I thought it'd be nice to actually see a UTC clock
smart
on here. Everything that they've done with Mac OS Sonoma, everything they've done with the Apple Silicon, and everything they've done with the externals of this thing, it is not much redesigned from last year. In fact, the only new feature is the color. But I thought they got it right last year.
I think so too.
And I love
design is great.
3 Thunderbolt 4 ports. This thing, frankly, it's a Mac Pro in a portable.
It really is.
Form factor. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, highly recommend it. Yes, it's expensive. Why did I get the top of the line? By the way, I could have spent another couple of $1,000 by an 8 terabyte hard drive and 128 gigs of RAM. Those are the two things I didn't max out. I did max out the processor, though. Got the M3 Max, top of the line, and I love it. So, is this a lust-worthy object? Yes. Does it make sense? Well, you'll have to make the judgment on that. You'll have to divide it by the number of years and the number of hours it's going to save you. Does it make sense for me? Absolutely not. Is it a satisfying object of technology lust? Wow. Yes. Apple has once again nailed it. They are amazing. And this is the computer. When I read William Gibson's Neuromancer, and he had a kind of a beat-up computer that had the entire world's information, the Library of Congress on it, and he could jack into it, and he could transport himself to the metaverse and all that. This is the closest thing. I always wanted that computer. Mm-hmm. This is the closest thing to that. They've done a great job, and I'm going to put a big old sticker on it. I'm going to get it all beat up. I'm not putting a case on this guy. This one's going naked, commando. So thank you, Apple, for really, I think, thinking about Mac users and giving Mac users what we've wanted all along. As I said earlier, I've owned a Mac since 1984. Mm-hmm. I've had almost every Mac out there, including some very bad designs like the trash can Mac. This one nails it. Good job, Apple. MacBook Pro, M3 Max, 4 terabytes of storage, 64 gigs of RAM, basically $5,000. It's good.
It's good.
It's good. That's my thumbnail review of that. Yeah, but it's hard to, you read all the articles, you go read all the benchmarks, and it doesn't capture what really these objects are about. It's a very dry way of thinking about these. This is as much an emotional object
Always.
as anything else. It's not just a calculator.
And for me, what's wild to me is that I do feel differently about the Mac than I do about the iPhone. I think maybe because the iPhone gets changed out
That's
so much.
much more utilitarian.
Yeah, you
in a
don't
way,
make
right?
as much of a connection with it.
Yeah.
But I love this MacBook Air so much.
Yeah.
It is such a great machine. It's so lightweight, but it's still so powerful. And there is something about the powerful device that we have that helps us get the stuff done that we do.
I have the MacBook Air, both the 16 and the 32, and I have a great appreciation for those. Those are great devices.
16 and 14, right?
14, not 32. I don't know why I said 32. 16 and 14. Actually, 13.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So, and then I made a big mistake. I put it next to Lisa's 14-inch MacBook Pro, the M2 Max from last year, and it took some of this. Don't ever put this next to your machine.
Yeah, you keep it over there.
Some of the joy out of it. I thought, it's the speakers aren't quite as good. It's not that it's bad,
Right.
and it's so
Well, the
light.
screen
it
is,
makes up for what it lacks with this lightness and thinness.
Yeah.
But the lack of ports, the slightly lower quality screen, the slightly lower quality audio, was enough to say, I treated myself.
Yeah.
This is the ice cream cone of computers. And I'm very happy.
The ice cream cone of computers.
Yeah. Parallels runs so well. I mean, if I were, honestly, we're running Windows in emulation. I don't know. I couldn't think of what I should put on here to show you how well it runs. But it just runs beautifully. This is a nice Windows machine. Honestly, this is what I should be using for the show so I'd have access to the Windows and the Mac in one computer. But I don't want to give it up. There's some GPU history. You notice it really didn't use much of the GPU when I was doing Whisper. This is the GPU window. And it's not using much CPU right now.
Nope.
I put some RAM up and see what the RAM usage looks like. Let's see. Do I have a RAM window? Maybe I don't. I guess not. I like those little activity monitor windows. Here, you can look at it. I mean, actually, this is the reason I'm not an expert on this. Is what I usually use is a terminal-based program called BTOP. So I'll open that up, and this is what I like to look at. What I found interesting as I'm using this computer is it pretty much uses all the RAM. Like right now, it's using 59 gigabytes of RAM. Doesn't matter even what I'm running. But that's good. That's good memory management. It's using the RAM. It's saying, you got it? I'm going to use it.
Absolutely.
I'll free it up if you need it. I don't think that's particularly Windows, but it's using almost all the RAM. There's very little RAM it's not using. It doesn't use all the CPUs. It's only using those are probably the efficiency cores, C0 through 3. I would bet those are the efficiency
I bet
core,
you're right, yeah. Because it's only doing efficiency things
there
right now.
Yeah, right? Let's turn Windows on, see if let's open Edge, see if that slows it down a little bit. Okay, now I got Edge running. Let's see if anything else is happening. No, it just hums right along. A little more CPU usage, but not much. It's just, yeah, you see the performance cores have kicked in, but not much. All that to show that some $2 bills are worth more than others.
I'm Jason Howell. What do you get your favorite geek who already has everything? Well, I know just the thing. It's a Club TWiT gift subscription, of course. TWiT podcasts keep them informed and entertained with the most relevant tech news and podcasts available. And with a Club TWiT subscription, they get even more. They get access to all of our podcasts ad-free, the members-only Discord, exclusive outtakes, behind the scenes and special content, and exclusive shows like Hands on Mac, Hands on Windows, and the Untitled Linux Show. You can purchase your geek's gift at twit.tv/clubtwit, and they're going to thank you every day for it.